Hi everyone! Today we are going to learn about our expectations and daily routines in individuals and societies. So make sure you've got your notes, and at the top where it says I can, write in this learning target. So your goal today is to be able to describe the daily expectations in our flexible classroom. All right, so let's look at materials. You've got to have materials before you start to be able to be prepared. So remember, there are three things that are required. You're going to jot them down on your notes. The first thing is your device. So laptop, Chromebook, whatever it is. We use that device every day. The second thing we talked about in class earlier was that 3-ring binder. Important that it's 3 rings just because you can put all of the materials that I provide in there. And remember, you'll need those all for the end of the unit to work on the unit project. And then thirdly, something to write with. It can be a pen, pencil, whatever you're comfortable with, but you definitely need something to write with. Now, headphones are recommended, but if you don't have them, I do have some available. But if you want to bring your earbuds or your headphones, that's perfectly fine. There's 2 things, though, that are not permitted in class, so please jot these down. The first is any sort of food or beverage that's got sugar in it or whatever. We've got lots of allergies. We just want to keep everybody safe. And then the second thing are our cell phones. Those are not permitted, and that goes along with our away for the day policy here at Hillside. All right, so what happens when class begins? Well, I will tell you, class begins as soon as you enter the classroom, as soon as you come through that door. So the first thing that you're going to do is look at the board. It will give the day and the date, and it will tell you what to do with the do now. Every Monday, you're going to grab a do now paper from that tray and get started. Sometimes there will be a question on there, sometimes there won't, and it will be on the board, but that gets you set for the day and helps you with your planning. You'll be able to write a goal for the day. You'll tell if you're current or if you're catching up. That's your planning for the day. Secondly, when you open your Chromebook, you will have access to your own personal digital checklist to kind of help see where you are, and that will help you plan. And there will also be posted a pacing tracker on the board to see where current is, what the on-pace lesson is, and what's due that day. So when you're planning, as soon as you walk in the door and get that do now done, you're thinking, where am I in the lesson? You can look at your checklist. You can look on the board for the on pace. And you're asking, what should you complete today to stay on pace? What is your plan? So you come up with a plan within those first few minutes. Okay, once you've set your plan, then we move on to work time. All directions are found in Schoology. So if you want to just flip your notes over. So all directions and lessons are found in Schoology. So write in the word directions and write in the word Schoology. You can get this anytime, anywhere. So remember, it's always available to you as long as you have a device. You need to make sure to follow this lesson pacing tracker. And again, there's 2 ways that you'll see this pacing tracker individually. You'll have a cover sheet where it shows you the lesson steps, and you can just check off on your cover sheet. That will come with every lesson after Unit 0. There's also, remember, the digital checklist that you'll be checking through, and you'll see where you left off. Secondly, you want to make sure that you complete the lessons in order. So they just go in order in Schoology. Lesson 2, it goes 2.1, then 2.2, then 2.3. So there's practice it. There's study toolbox things, but it goes in order until you get to the mastery check. Once you complete all those activities, you do a check-in with your teacher, and then you might be able to move on to that mastery check. So once you know where to find things during work time, let's look at materials. So materials needed for lessons are, remember, found in these bins that are right next to the closet. This is also where you're going to find things like tissues and hand sanitizer and Band-Aids. Another thing that you might find there are extra supplies. So you may be bringing your own colored pencils and markers and whatever, and that's fine. But if you are in need and they're required, the extra pencils, the sharpener, headphones are attached to the closet, which is in this area as well. Extra art supplies like colored pencils and markers and scissors and rulers and all of that stuff are in this area as well. So all this is like your central location for anything that you need. Now, the only thing that I ask is if you borrow something, and write this down, please return it. And there's time for that at the end of the hour. All right, so now you can get down to business. You've got your work time, you have your plan, and it's time to work. So be aware that work time is based on you and your goal for the day. So remember that pacing tracker. You might be doing a few things. Okay, one of the things that you might be doing is watching a brief instructional video and taking notes. Okay, that's part of every lesson. Something else you might be doing is either working independently on a practice activity, you might be working with a partner, or you might even be working with a small group on the lesson practice activities. So there's a variety of things that you might be doing. Those directions are all in Schoology. You also might be getting feedback from me or the student teacher in the room to let you know if you're on track, if you've got questions. I come around and check throughout the hour and just check in with you to make sure that you're understanding. So feedback from me is important to get for your independent practice. And then your practices are all skills-based. So you're getting feedback on the practices that relates to the lesson. And finally, you are checking in your work to make sure that you're on track. There might be a key posted in the classroom, or it might be a self-checking activity or check with a partner, but you're always checking and getting that feedback to make sure that you are on track and that you understand. Okay, let's look at mastery check. So flip the page, and mastery check is to show that you understand the lesson. So make sure that you've got that. It is taken at the end of every single lesson. You will have some sort of mastery check. It might be a quiz, it might be a Schoology quiz, it might be a mini project, but they're always at the end of the lesson to show your understanding. They're made available on the target due date, and if you're not ready, that's okay. I mean, it's better for you to be ready if you're ready, but if you're not, I want you to learn and get it when you're ready, but it should be taken or completed within 2 days after that target due date. So it's not going to go on and on forever. They are taken independently, so you do not work with a partner on any of the mastery checks. And then if it's a Schoology assessment or a paper quiz, you're not allowed to use notes. Okay, so those are the things you might be doing during class. Now what happens when we end class? All right, first of all, we take some time to clean up. Log out of your Chromebook, close that up, put headphones away, put supplies away, and then check the pacing tracker. Are you current? So you've got a plan. This is the second part of planning. It will say where the on-pace thing is for the day. If you didn't get those done, then what should you do? Should you come in for seminar or work on it during seminar? Should you take things home for homework? So those are decisions you're going to need to make. And then lastly, you sit at your table and wait. We'll do a last wrap-up question or discussion. I do not want you lining up at the door because there's always something that we do to sort of wrap up class. All right, so just some general expectations to write down. Use your time wisely. There's a lot of freedom in here, but you need to use your time wisely so you don't get behind and so you don't have a whole lot to work on at home. Be respectful of everyone's learning space, so work quietly and know that there are others in the classroom that need good conditions for working as well. Ask questions. I'll check in with you, but if you feel the need, you can come and ask me and check in with me as well. And then most importantly, keep that growth mindset. All right, hopefully you understand the expectations and routines in our flexible learning space.